Good morning, Eagles. As we transition back to hybrid learning, we wanted to take a moment to do a quick walkthrough of Google Classroom. I know a lot of you are already Google Classroom pros. If you fit into this category, then give yourself a high five. But don't ignore the rest of this video. There might be a tip or a trick that you didn't know. If you've gotten your feet wet with Classroom but wouldn't mind a quick tour, then come along for the ride today. We're going to talk about using the To Review button, your stream versus classwork, organizational ideas for your classwork, and grading. The first thing I want to show you is To Review, which is on your landing page. It's also available if you click the hamburger menu in the upper left. When you click it, it will take you to a list of all the assignments you have posted in Classroom, or you can toggle it to see only the assignments from a specific class. You can see how many have been turned in and how many have been graded for each assignment. This is great for getting caught up on late work in bulk instead of when each individual late assignment email rolls in. Now let's open up a class. I'm going to go back to my hamburger menu and choose a class to open. This will take me to my stream. Before we dive into the stream, let's take a second and go to our settings and do a whole bunch of things at once. Click on the little wheel icon here in the upper right corner. You've already named your class, so we're going to keep scrolling. Under General, the first option is to link your class to our SIS, or Student Information System, and that's just fancy talk for Infinite Campus. If you link your class here to IC, you will be able to use the grade export feature, which is a huge time saver. I highly suggest linking it. Keep scrolling down to Stream. The stream is the first thing you or your students see when you open your classroom. I like to keep this strictly for announcements. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Anyway, I've got it set to allow students to comment on my posts, but not create their own. I do this so they can ask questions or give me feedback on specific topics, but I can still keep my stream free of clutter. I've also chosen to hide notifications of classwork on the stream. This means that the stream will only be announcements from me. If I show attachments and details or condensed notifications, it will post a link on my stream to each assignment I post in classwork. While this isn't a bad thing, I feel like this clutters the stream and it makes it hard for students to try to find things if they never actually click on the classwork tab. If you keep scrolling down, you can add grading categories and weights. It's totally up to you if you want to do this. Unfortunately, SIS export won't drop them into the same categories in Infinite Campus. You need to do that yourself when you export. We're going to go back to the stream now by Xing out. Like I said, I like to use my stream to only post announcements, including a message each morning letting my students know what we will be working on in class that day. You might prefer to do this once a week, but once a day works for me. The key is to just keep it consistent so your learners know what to expect. One of the reasons I like to post daily is because I also like to include links to any material they will need for class that day. For example, here I have links to assignments that I have posted under classwork. I'll show you a little bit later how to get to those links. Let's head over to the classwork tab now. This is where I post assignments and materials for students. Assignments are things they need to do, and materials are things they need to read or to be able to access, but they don't need to manipulate. It's important to choose an organizational system for your classwork that makes sense for you. Last spring, I had my classwork arranged by units, but I found it became clunky. In world language, our units are really long, and the list of assignments for each unit became really overwhelming. This year, I've started arranging assignments by week, and I'm much happier that way. How you organize is personal, though, and ultimately, you're the expert in your classroom. Also, Google Classroom calls these topics when you create them, so just click the Create button and add your topics. You also click that button to add material or assignments. Assignments are things you want students to complete. There's some sort of product associated with these. You can add docs, slides, Jamboards, links, videos from YouTube, all sorts of things. Assignments also should have a due date. This will make the assignment show up on your students' to-do list, which helps them to stay organized. It will also shift the assignment to their missing list too if they don't submit it by the due date. If you're adding docs or slides from your drive, it will give you the option to keep the file view only, give editing rights, or to make a copy for each student. I like to give editing rights when working in slides, like having each student or a group of students do a slide in a presentation that the whole class can see. I choose to make a copy for each student when doing solo work. You can also get fancy. Like you can select which students to assign something to. So if you want your students to do partner work or group work collaboratively, you can assign something to specific people and have them share with their partner or their group. Choose wisely though. Once you post an assignment, you can't edit the sharing settings here, so if you meant to make a copy for everyone and instead gave everyone editing rights, you'll need to delete the assignment and start over. You can also add a Kami assignment, which will automatically convert your assignment to a PDF and force it to open in Kami when students open it. Sometimes you want to post things for students that they can use as a reference, but there's nothing they need to submit. This can get posted as material. When I add the material, there's no prompt to make a copy for each student or for all students to edit like when you post an assignment. It automatically just gives students viewing rights to the material. After I've created an assignment or material in classwork, I can link it on the stream. Just click the kebab icon and choose Copy Link. I add this to my announcements on the stream each day. All my kids have to do is click the link on the stream and bam, they're in the assignment that I want them to do. So you've got your assignments, they're posted in your stream, and because your kids are amazing, they've completed them and they've turned them in. You're obviously on top of your grading, and you've entered a grade and returned their submissions. You need to get those grades into Infinite Campus though. Here's where that SIS link is important. If you go to grades, you will see Google Classroom's gradebook. You can click on individual assignments here too if you need to check something, but let's assume that everything's graded and has been returned to your students. All you need to do is click the SIS export button and the magic of the internet grabs your grades and sends them over to Infinite Campus. But get comfy, this can take a few minutes. But it's way easier than hand entering the grades. Megan made a tutorial on this earlier this year. Check it out if you want a more in-depth look at how this works. You can re-export as students turn in late work, and if you mark missing assignments with an M in Infinite Campus, SIS export will override that with a grade when you have one. Google Classroom has a lot going on. We're always finding new things to do with it, and Google values feedback from educators. If you click on the question mark in the lower left corner, you can submit feedback to Google. And they really do listen. They take the feedback seriously. If there's a feature you'd like to see, drop them a line. Drop us a line too, or come visit us in C235A. We'd love to work with you on managing your Google Classroom or anything else you have in mind. Until next time, we'll see you in the tea room.